Hello, this is Team Dawgsforce, and today we will be looking at the campus kitchen at UGA system. So right now we're going to look at the administrator account, so you'll enter your admin credentials and then click Login, and you will be welcomed by this home page. So the client mentioned three main issues that they were having. One is data latency, two is operational myopia, and three are their transient volunteers. This solution addresses all three of those, and we're going to show you a little bit of how we address them. So the first one is data latency, and that essentially was caused by the different platforms between the Google Sheets and the Google Forms. So what we did is we combined all of their info into one centralized platform. So you can access all of this info through the visual tiles on the main page or the menu taskbar throughout the system. So up here you have your delivery information. Next you have your inventory information. Then you have your client profile information. And then finally you have your operational information. So all of this info is centralized through this one site and is stored centrally. Lastly, all of this info is recorded through a report structure. So that leads us to our second issue, which was operational myopia. Previously, because data was stored in different platforms and forms, it was difficult at one point in time to see where they were financially and operationally. So we created three reports here that give you some visibility into the process and allows for some easier decision making. So the first one is our comprehensive food recovery report. And as you can see here, it gives you a nice sum of the total number of pounds currently in inventory. And then it breaks it down by who donated the food. So this is very helpful when the meal preppers are trying to see, what they can make, how much meats do they have, when it was donated, is it still good? You can add a filter for time. So this is a very beneficial internal report for meal planning purposes, as well as reporting to the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia. We'll skip the food category report because it's a version of this, essentially just stripped down a bit. Next is the food distribution report. Which is essentially where our food is going to in the agencies around Athens. So we have appropriately grouped it by destination name, and these subtotals add up to the grand total. And then finally, we have our client delivery report, which is grouped by delivery status, not home or successful, and then further broken up by the makeup delivery status. So did they decide to just cancel it? Do they still need to reschedule? Is it redone, which is essentially successful? Or is it currently scheduled and not yet completed? So this is a more detailed version of just not home or successful, and it gives the administrator more insight into the delivery status, which is one of their major asks for this project. So next, the last thing I'll show here is that these subtotals only add up to a final total if it was successful. So we added a special formula field here to not allow for confusion in that report structure. The last thing I'll show you here is the last issue, let me pull it up here, was transient volunteers. So previously, when we met with the client, she mentioned that one of the major issues was that the volunteers do not have time to go through a rigorous training in Salesforce. So the solution we have must be very intuitive and cannot allow for missed data reporting or anything like that. So we created a separate volunteer login that strips down their visibility to only include adding donation data, so they can view donation data and add a new donation, but they are unable to essentially mess with anything else. So they can view the donors, but they can't edit them, and they are unable to see the reports. So through our solution, we've addressed 3 issues: data latency, operational myopia, and transient volunteers. And it is our hope that the Campus Kitchen enjoys our solution. So thank you for your time and have a great day.